So we'll get into that in a bit. Was there any news at the top you guys wanted to mention to go through?
Yes. Yes,
Look
there
at
is
that
new.
face.
I mean, look, I don't think it gets any better. You you've poisoned my mind with this Welcome to Wrexham show that is crept into my emotions. I'm so weepy every episode. So I'm like
Yeah, it's great.
invested in Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah,
Then we get a bombshell in the form of a little funny teaser that Hugh Jackman will be appearing in Deadpool 3 in 2024. And then a
right.
follow-up video that kind of hints at that the story won't interfere with Logan. It won't step on the toes of Logan, which is really cool. So how you
Well,
guys feeling about it?
I mean, we all love Hugh Jackman on this show. I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think we all
We're
also agree.
Hugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're huge. We're huge on Hugh.
There it is. There it is. That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
But I was going to say we also agree that him in this role is one of those little bits of superhero casting it's got the same alchemy of like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Oh
or
yeah.
Totally.
a few of the other big ones, and so there's this weird danger of it's exciting to think that you could get a little bit more of that energy, but it also is coming after the perfect send-off, maybe the best superhero movie. It's in contention in my mind for best superhero movie ever, Logan.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
So it's like I know they must be in respect of that. I mean,
It's
I
gotta
think
be.
I think
Yeah.
that there is a difference between saying he's going to be back as Wolverine in Deadpool 3 and saying MCU has announced that they've cast their Wolverine and it's
Exactly.
Hugh Jackman. However, I don't think that means we won't get him as Wolverine. There's a lot of variables to this.
Yeah.
And I'll just spit a few things out and then see what you guys think. One is, who knows by 2024, by September of 2024, what they would have put in their other movies and shows to sort of pave the way for mutant stuff to come up. It's not like that'll be it's not like he's going to be in the next thing and we're going to see it tomorrow. They've got 2 years to get us ready for this. The other is, if you're going to launch the X-Men in the MCU as new characters, do you need Wolverine to be part of that initial team, to be part of that, whatever that origin story is? Or can he just be this guy who we know, he got brought over in Deadpool 3 from another universe, but now he's stuck here? Or maybe some indication that Wolverine's been around all this time and we just haven't seen him yet? I mean, does that work with any kind of unrolling of a new X-Men mythos that we've all sort of assumed that the MCU is going to do, right? Is like have a big time rolling out their new X-Men. So what do you think of all that? And how does he fit in?
I mean,
How does that fit in with what they could be planning?
he's necessary. He's necessary. And I think that because, let's be honest, man. All of the franchises, I mean, have had kind of an interesting time. I won't say bad because there has been some light in the middle of the Marvel stuff. But I think in order to win people over with the idea of the X-Men, especially fanboys and fangirls all over the world and fandoms, I think what you're gonna have to do is sweeten the pot, right? X-Men is probably one of the most anticipated Marvel properties in history. Now, I mean, like, sure, Spider-Man is incredible. When X-Men comes, we're gonna see a different level of fandom, just like this kind of on the level of Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
So I think in order to win them over, in order for people not to riot in the streets, you gotta have Wolverine, and you have to have a good Wolverine. And if that means securing Hugh again, if they look and they can't find a good Wolverine to replace Wolverine, just give us Hugh. If they're trying somebody new, I'm all about that. But it has to be a good person. It has to be somebody that kind of fits that role and gives us the good amount of toxic masculinity and fragility that Wolverine has. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. I mean, definitely agree. I think in general, like I would be shocked if they don't already know who the next Wolverine is.
Yeah.
I think there's been rumors about people that are in the running, and I feel like Marvel probably knows who that's going to be. But I think that kind of the idea that they've been really doubling down on this whole, the 4, 5, 6 phases in terms of like multiverse stuff and even just the playground that Deadpool is. It just seems like a great way to, you say, sweeten the pot. Yeah, like it's just like, okay, what's something that people love? Well, they love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's widely known how close Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are. And not to mention that Sean Levy's directing Deadpool 3, who also has a great relationship with both of those stars. There's just such synergy there that there's no way to not do this,
And Feige and Hugh.
Right, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, he's a big part of that whole X-Men, that version of the X-Men, sure, in the 20th Century Fox of it all. Yes, like there's a relationship there. So I think there's a no-brainer in play here, which is like, let's let these people who are like great friends and fuck around all the time and people love together, let them do something with this that's very special. And whether that's a long-term thing in the movie or if there's a long-term play for Hugh Jackman in the MCU, who knows what that is? But knowing where the phases are going, there's very much, it feels like there's probably some version of Hugh Jackman that could be involved in the MCU for years to come. It's not the version that we saw in Logan, probably, but I mean, it could be something else. And I think that's cool. And I think that, again, Deadpool was a great film to mess around with that in. Those actors are great together. And let's just like call it what it is. Like Ryan Reynolds is a marketing machine. And, the fact that we're talking about this 2 years out and there's this much excitement over it. And within, 24 hours, you get 2 great videos. To think between now and then what they're going to put out, what they're going to use to promote that movie with everything he's done with the Deadpool franchise and, Sean Levy, who I think is a great choice for this movie coming in. It's just a really exciting thing. And it's like, it is a marquee name to have in the MCU, Wolverine and Deadpool. Yeah. And to have Ryan Reynolds be a part of the MCU is a huge asset because he is a machine when it comes to marketing his movies. And especially that character, it's like a perfect marriage between the actor and the character and the franchise. So, I was so excited to see the videos and, I'm sending it around to everybody I know that cares one iota because it's just like, oh my God, this is happening. And the logo is awesome, with the Deadpool. I mean, they just know exactly what they're doing. And this is probably one of the areas where there's no question of the quality of what they could do with this film. Yeah. And man, super excited. Can't wait to see what they do with it 2 years down the line. We'll find out.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that idea that they kind of need something to get us juiced at this point. Because even if you've been enjoying the sort of slow drip of what they've been doing over the last few years, or the steady drip, I should say, that a little bit of that specialness has gone out of it, that sense of anticipation, that sense of knowing what to expect or what the next big thing is. Like, I'm extremely excited to see the next Guardians movie, but that has as much to do with James Gunn as it does the MCU. I'm really excited to see what they do with the next Ant-Man movie, and because that's going to supposedly set the stage for some of this big multiversal stuff. But even with that, and with Wakanda Forever just a couple months away, I have still not felt that the next big thing in the movies that I'm excited to see is to take my family to go see the next Marvel thing. I'm starting to feel that about some of these things, I guess. But my point being, sure. You wonder, what is that thing that's going to get people kind of excited? And I think what's interesting about it being Deadpool is that of all the movies that can play around with which version of Wolverine is this, are we going to ruin the ending of Logan? I mean, he could practically turn to the camera and say, I promise we're not going to ruin Logan for you people. Trust me, but I also think it would be hilarious if Wolverine does get brought back from the dead and he doesn't do much of anything or something. I was trying to think of what kind of joke could they have about what does it mean to make it worth your while to bring a character back like this? Because the question in our minds is when does Chris Evans come back? When does Robert Downey Jr. come back? Sure. It's not hard to think that they would use that if, as you're saying, Steve, they only have so many of these Hail Mary passes with okay, how can we get people interested? And you don't want to see them undo everything that they've done. I think the people that made Logan know that, and the people that are making this new thing probably know that. So yeah, it's just an interesting thing. But I agree with you, Steve. The logo is part of the magic of this announcement. It's you could feel the marketing campaign starting up already with that Deadpool mask with the 3 claw marks through it.
So awesome.
Because those two guys' real life friendship is so antagonistic, at least as far as what they release, the little videos. Those two characters are so perfect for that kind of one-upsmanship and
Oh my
making
God.
it fun.
Totally.
So yeah, no, I'm psyched about it too. And it is a little weird that it's 2 years out, but I guess that's the way it ought to be, right? They get us excited about
Yes,
something,
yes,
and then
yeah.
they make a good thing. And it doesn't mean it's going to be good, but yeah, the pieces are in place for it
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be one of those that you're just kind of excited to see. Even if you don't love the Deadpool movies, you can imagine that this one is going to be special, not just because of the Wolverine factor, but because the writers have said again and again, every little interview I've read they've been talking about the sort of fun of getting to play in the MCU proper, but still get to keep the Deadpool aesthetic.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite things about the Deadpool movies is that he can just kind of go across town and knock on the door at the X Mansion. I love that feeling. So I think, you know, having a bigger board to play on and more pieces to play with seems like it would suit the Deadpool movies. So, and you're right about Ryan Reynolds being a crazy marketing machine. It's like
He is,
It's
man.
crazy. man.
his cell phone company, his movies, anything he's involved in.
His gin or his tequila or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Mint
He puts-
Mobile.
Yeah.
Like everything, and it's all
Do
in the
you like
video.
Mint Mobile, Ron? Because we've been thinking about it.
I've been using it for 5 years. at this
Okay.
point. I love it.
All right.
I've traveled all over the world with it, and it works really well.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing is that sometimes I forget that, like, whatever money is coming out from 6 months of use, like, I forget about that sometimes. I'm like, oh, I paid for 6 months. Like, I haven't paid a bill. Oh, the next chunk is coming out.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. But besides that, you really get used to just, it's okay to not spend a lot of money on your phone. And that's a very foreign concept for Americans, right? Like, people are used to, like, my bill should be $120. That's how I have a good cell phone. That's how it works. And it's not like that. It doesn't have to be like that, especially since it uses T-Mobile towers. You know, it uses towers that other
This
mainstream.
episode brought to you by Mint Mobile.
I know. I was about to
yeah.
say.
Ryan's done it to me, man. He's like, he's convinced me.